Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first Monday night call for 2017. So excited that the new year is here and to see you all on here ready to make your goals and to achieve these things that you're dreaming about for your businesses. The new year is such an exciting time to think about the future and even think about the past, things you want to make changes in your business, personal life, all of it. But today we're going to talk about our businesses and things that we want to achieve. So Brittany has some amazing how-to practical stuff on setting goals and achieving them. She's really good at that, so I can't even wait to hear what she's going to share with us. But first, I'm going to talk about the most important thing that you can do. The number one thing that you want to start with is your why. Your why is really important because it's what's going to push you through the hard times, the days when you don't feel like working, the days when you would rather sit on the couch and watch TV and eat popcorn all day or whatever. But it's so important that you focus at the beginning on why you're doing this, because if you have a strong why, you're going to feel motivated and energetic and passionate every day. You're going to feel like, wow, this is exciting. I'm so glad. I'm so blessed to be doing this. Here's the reason why I'm doing it. If it's for your family, for your kids, whatever it is, your why needs to make you cry. It needs to motivate you. If it's not motivating you to get you out of bed, then your why isn't strong enough. So if you think, yeah, it might be nice to take my kids to Disney World, or I would like to put my son in violin lessons, but it doesn't motivate you to go out and recruit people, that wasn't big enough. If you think, oh, it might be nice to be a diamond someday, but it's not like, yes, I want to be a diamond. I just feel myself on the stage having the title of a diamond. Then it's not going to motivate you to really work your business or to do much about it. So it's really important that your why motivates you and drives you. And there's the quote that we had posted, and it says, goals are dreams with deadlines. So you have to dream big first in order to have goals. You do need to dream. I want to encourage you to think, if time and money were no object, what would your life look like? What do you want your life to look like? What kind of things do you see yourselves doing? Charities you'd love to give to, mission trips, what kind of house would you like to live in? What kind of life do you want to leave for your kids and your grandkids? Think big. So I want to encourage you with those things. Brittany, do you have anything to add to that?
I totally agree. I mean, your why is definitely going to get you out of bed, make you excited. It's going to make this not feel so much like work. It is work, but if your why is big enough, then those discouraging days won't feel like the end of the world. You'll be driven by that big, huge why instead of by your emotions, because there are a lot of emotional ups and downs that come with this business, and you don't want to be driven along by that. You want to be on solid ground, which is your why. So, yeah. Were you about to say something else?
Nope, that was it. You can go ahead and share.
All right,
Let's let it do it.
All right, so your why is definitely the foundation of your goals, because if you don't have a why, then there's no point in setting a goal, right? You're not achieving anything. You need to have a vision, and you need to have a vision for where you want to go so that you're going in the right direction. Basically, you want to begin with the end in mind. What's my destination? And then you can backtrack and figure out, okay, now how am I going to get there? So you start with your why, but once you figure out what your why is, then you're going to write it down, and then you're going to break it down. And that is goal setting. So there's different types of goals. And if you don't have a goal, then you're going to feel like you're kind of spinning your wheels. If you don't have your goals like outlined and specific and, written down plain as day, what you're working toward, then you're just going to kind of mosey along. There's different types of goals. So the first type of goal you might want to set is a rank advancement goal. So that would look like maybe you want to go to convention as a jewel, Or maybe you want to get to Hawaii this year, which means Emerald by July. Or maybe you want to be Ruby by April. Or maybe you just joined and you'd like to be Ruby by December. So there's rank advancement goals. Then there's team goals. You should always set team goals every month too. So that might look like, okay, this month for my team, I'm going to help 3 people go silver this month. Or for November, we had that planner incentive. That might look like, okay, I'm going to help 10 people on my team earn that planner this month. Then there's money goals. Maybe your goal is to add $1,000 a month to your monthly income. That would make a huge difference for most people. They say that $500 can make the difference between someone going bankrupt or not. So sometimes you might want to set a money goal, and then you can look at that average income by rank chart and determine, okay, this is the rank that I need to be. Maybe you need to hit Emerald so you can quit your job, or Senior Ruby so you can quit your job. Those are money goals. Then you might have personal recruiting goals. So maybe you're telling yourself, okay, my goal is to recruit 3 new customers and 3 new business builders every single month this year. Or you have other goals that you might want to set too, not just business goals, but you should be setting goals for every area of your life. You should have health goals. You should have financial goals. You should have marriage goals. You should have family goals. You should have education goals. So there's lots of different goals that you can have, but tonight we're going to hone in on the business ones. So how do we set goals? How do we set goals that are realistic and attainable for us specifically? And I'm going to do a screen share here. Okay, here we go. So we want to set SMART goals. And SMART is an acronym. Stands for, S is for specific. If your goals are not specific, then you are going to feel like you're spinning your wheels. You're going to kind of go through the motions, but if there's nothing driving you to work harder, to send that last message before you go to bed, or pick up the phone when you don't want to, if your goals are not very specific, then you are going to constantly feel like you're spinning your wheels. So your goals need to be very specific. They need to be measurable. Kind of like if you're losing weight, you know, you want measurable results. I lost this many pounds. All right, well, in your business, you need to be able to measure your results. How many people did I recruit? How many more people do I need to recruit to reach my goal? How many people did I help go silver this month? How many people are silver on my levels 3 and 4? So that means how well am I duplicating? All right, so then your goals need to be action-oriented, because it doesn't do you any good to set a goal if you don't have a plan, right? So that's the action part. You have to figure out what your goal is and then break it down to figure out how you're going to achieve it. Your goals need to be realistic. So if it took you 1 year to get from silver to gold, then it might not be realistic to think that, you know, here it is May of the year and you want to get to Hawaii by July. Okay, so that's not realistic. But you set, I'm going to tell you how to set realistic goals in a minute that are realistic for you and your lifestyle. But you definitely want to set realistic goals, because you don't want to be super disappointed if you don't reach your goals. So make sure that your goals are something that is attainable, but also something that stretches you. Like, you don't want it to be too easy. You want it to challenge you and stretch you, but make sure that it's realistic at the same time. And people have flown through the ranks. I don't think that diamond within a year is unrealistic. Brooke Hemingway has done it. Celeste Gwynn did it faster than that. We have lots of examples. So it's different for everyone, but I'm going to show you how to make sure it's realistic for you personally. And then lastly, you want to make sure that your goals are time sensitive. So put a time clock on it, because if you're not putting a time frame on it, then again, you're going to feel like you're spinning your wheels. If it's time sensitive, it's going to drive you to work harder. All right, so the first thing you need to do is write your goal down. And this is really important. Don't skip the step. You might think that that's insignificant to write your goals down, but the physical act of writing your goals down actually does make a huge difference. So there was a study done on some Harvard graduates, and 3% of the graduates had written down their goals and they had a plan. of what they wanted to do. 13% had goals, but they did not write them down or have a plan. And then 84% had no goals or a plan. All right, so 10 years later, it's really interesting to me because the 13% that had goals but didn't write them down were earning twice as much income as the 84% who had no goals or a plan. But the 3% who wrote them down and had a plan were earning 10 times as much as the other 97% combined. So don't skip that step. I also read a book called The Millionaire Mind. And I'm sure I've mentioned this book before, but this guy, he researched millionaires and like how they lived, what their habits were, what they had in common. And some of the results of the study were really shocking. But one thing that really stood out to me was that 95% of millionaires write down their goals. So basically when you write it down, you're holding yourself accountable. It's more than just some arbitrary idea that you're kind of like aimlessly wandering around, hoping you're going to hit it. When you write it down, you're basically saying, you're like writing it in stone. You're saying, okay, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. I'm sticking to it. So basically people who write down their goals, they don't fail as fast as people who don't write down their goals. All right. So after you write it down, then you're going to break it down. And by the way, Fallon, I figured out what that blue line is. That is somebody on the app. Is that you? Did you do it?
No, but I saw the blue lines and I'm like, how are those blue lines always showing up?
I figured it out because one time I accidentally did it when I was on somebody else's Zoom, but somebody's on the app and they're drawing on the board. So whoever's drawing squiggly lines, they're beautiful, but all right, anyway, but there's no way to know who it is. So, but that's from the app, and just in case you're wondering. So anyway, all right, write down your goals, and then you're going to break it down. All right, so this is how you make sure that your goals are realistic. Say you want to get from gold, which is 100 points, to senior gold, which is 250 points. All right, so you need 150 more points if you're sitting at gold. So if you divide 150 divided by 5, because every person you add is worth 5 points to you, that means you need to add 30 more people so that you can get to senior gold. And that's assuming that those people are on your first 3 levels, because you get 5 points for your levels 1 through 3. And if you're gold, more than likely you're levels 1 through 3. Most golds don't run deeper than that. So it's safe to say level 5 points per person. However, that is assuming that every single one of those people on your team is going to have their backup order on, is going to be ordering consistently every single month. In reality, that's not usually how it works. So I like to have a safer calculation and divide that number of points that I need by 3, because that accounts for attrition. So that would mean you would need to add 50 more people to your team to hit senior gold if you're sitting at gold, okay? And that doesn't mean you add 50 people in 1 month. This is how you make it realistic. So if last month your team added 5 people, then obviously this month they're probably not going to add 50 unless all of a sudden you recruit a rock star, which is possible. It's happened. Or 2 people that go fast start gold, and then you recruit 10. So it's possible, but it's not really realistic, okay? So if your team recruited 10 last month, then it's safe to say that you could double that this month if you're recruiting a lot more and you're helping everybody go silver. So this is how you're going to make it realistic. Just determine, what did I do last month, and how can I improve on it this month? All right, so that is just a simple calculation from gold to senior gold. All right, now what if you want to get to Hawaii this year? Say you're Ruby and you want to get to Emerald. So Ruby is 500 points, and then Emerald is 1,500 points. So that means you need 1,000 more points to get to Hawaii. And if you're going to do it by July, you got to have all the people in by June. So that means 6 months from right now. Okay. So take that 1,000. We're going to divide it by 3. That means you need 333 more people on your team who are active. If you divide that by 6, because we have 6 months to do that, that's 55 people a month. And that is so doable. That might seem like a big number right now. If your team is adding, say, 20 to 30 people a month, 55 might seem like a big jump. But if you're working really hard pushing that snowball, it's not going to look like an even line. It's not going to be like January 55, February 55, March 55. It's going to be like 30 and then 50 and then up. So it should be. So you never know who's going to join you and when and where you're going to meet them. But make sure that you're personally recruiting. And if you are, say you recruited 10 level 1s
Ruby,
in a month, and then you help them all get their products paid for, which is silver. That's 40 people right there. And if you recruited 10 level 1s, several of those people are going to be more than silver. Probably, I would say about 2 is a safe bet. So some people just take off with it. If you recruit 10 people, there's going to be 1 or 2 that you probably never hear from again. There might be 1 or 2 that really just take off and run with it. And then most other people are going to be somewhere in the middle that you can influence, and you can help them get to silver, or maybe you can even help them get to gold. So if your team adds 30 people this month, then the next month they might add 40 and so on. So the number's not going to be like a straight line. It's going to be just like just grows exponentially. At some point, it will just kind of take on a life of its own. All right, so you definitely want to break down your goals. I lost me. Oh, okay. All right, and then, all right, so how do you know? Say you want to recruit 10 people in a month. How can you set a goal to do that? If I had a big goal, like if I was senior gold, or if I was Ruby and I wanted to get to Hawaii this year, I would be setting a high personal recruiting goal, which means at least 10 people every single month, at least. So how do I do that? If I'm going to reach out to new contacts and personally recruit people, my goal is 10. Generally about 1 in 10 people are going to be interested in what you have to say. Those numbers might be even less if you're trying to reach out to your cold market people that you don't even know. You might have to go through more than 10 people to find somebody who's interested in what you have to say. If you're just joined and you're still right there in your very warm market, then it might be less. But you generally, as a general rule of thumb, you can do 1 out of 10. So if I'm trying to recruit 10, that means I need to reach out to at least 100 to get 10 people to join my team. So then you break that down by day. Okay, so I'm going to work 30 days this month, or I'm going to work Monday through Friday. So that's more like 22 days. If I divide 100 by 20, that's 5 people a day, 5 days a week. Can I do that? Well, yeah, I mean, I can do that. That's very realistic. Anybody can reach out to 5 new people a day. If you're messaging people on Facebook, that takes between 30 minutes to an hour, depending on if somebody responds. So anybody can squeeze that in. That's not something I would squeeze in there. That's something I would be intentional about, because that's the most important part of your business, your IPA. But other stuff you can definitely squeeze in. So 1 in 10 people for your personal recruiting, and then look at who you can help get to silver. And that is how your team is going to multiply instead of just add, because you don't want to just be adding. You want to be multiplying, especially if you have a big, huge goal, which you should. All right, Fallon, I think that is about all I have as far as that.
Okay, I'm going to throw a few things in there. Okay, so I had set a goal when I started Plexus. I had heard that Sonia Dudley hit diamond in 10 months. So I literally said, in 10 months, we're going to have all our debts paid off. We are just going to be set for life. And I believed it. I was really excited. Well, it didn't happen. I had to readjust my goals. I had to work on myself. So what do you do if you set a goal and you don't hit it? Number 1, you don't panic. It's okay. It's happened before. You just readjust. You reevaluate your goals. You reevaluate how much you're willing to put in, how much work you're willing to put in. I realized that my why wasn't big enough. I wasn't willing to put in the work that was required. And then January of last year, was it last year? No, was it the year before? I think it's almost been 2 years now. Almost been 2 years now, but I drew my line in the sand and I decided I was going to go all in. And when I did that, things started to change. And at that point, my goal was to make it to Hawaii. I ended up making it to Hawaii as a diamond because my team was duplicating so fast because I was just working as hard and as fast as I could while still taking care of my 5 kids. So I would set your bar high, whatever your goals are, whatever your dreams are. Don't feel like you can't do it, because we talk about that snowball, and right now you're pushing it up the hill. It's hard. You're silver and you're like, oh my gosh, gold. They're all talking about diamond and I just don't even know how I'm going to get to gold. 20 people, that seems like a lot. Don't think about that. You take it one day at a time. Your goals are one day at a time. It's not, oh my gosh, diamond, how am I going to get 4,500 points? I don't know how I'll ever do that. No, you think of, I can reach out to 5 people today. I can watch the training. I can plug into the team calls. I can learn how to lead a team. So when I have one, I'm going to know what to tag them in and what to do. And then it's going to start happening. So what Brittany said, your team's going to add 25 people a month. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's so many. And then it's going to be 50. And then it'll grow to 400 a month. This time last year, I had 1/5 of the team that I have now. I have over 5,000 people on my team. Last year I had 1,000. That number, it just keeps doubling and doubling. That's duplication. That's the power of network marketing and residual income, and that's why we do this. So I just want to encourage you all, if you feel like, gosh, my goal last year, I wanted to be gold by December and it didn't happen, I'm still silver. It's okay. It happened to me, and I'm still a diamond. I'm making that diamond income. I'm driving the Lexus. I'm going on the trips. Brittany too. The other jewels on the team. We've all had setbacks of various types. We've all had days where we didn't want to, put in the work. My kids are going crazy tonight. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this call, but I wanted to do it and I was excited. I'm like, I'm gonna make it happen. This is important. So you just do things like that every day, and that's gonna get you the results that you want. So.
Yeah, and I wanted to share too that last year, not last year, the year before, whenever I was senior gold and all of the jewels were in Hawaii. No, I was gold, but by the end of the year I was senior gold. So this time, 2 years ago, I was senior gold. And no, it was 1 year ago, I was senior gold. So anyways, I had set a goal. I wanted to take my family to Hawaii. And that was my why, and my goal was get there by June, because the cutoff is July, but that's just too close for comfort for me, and I just can't live that way. So I set my goal for June, and then I just broke it down, and I just figured out, okay, I need to add, I don't remember what the exact numbers were, but I was like, okay, I need my team needs to add this many people every month. What can I do to make that happen? How many 3-way calls can I talk to? Who can I help my level 1s talk to? How many events can I do? How many people can I reach out to? How many coaching calls how many people can I train? How many people can I help get to silver? And I just worked really, really hard. And I think it was like April. Yeah, it was April rolled around. And I looked at my back office and I called Fallon in tears and I was shaking. And I was like, if my team just added 100 people this month, I could go to convention as a jewel. And I was like, can I do that? And she was like, yeah, you can do it. You can do it. And I really didn't know if I could, but she convinced me that I could. And so I just went for it. And that month, my team added 150 people, and I went to convention as a jewel. But it was that goal that drove me. It was like I saw the finish line in sight, and like I had a taste of it. And I wanted it really bad, and that drove me. So really, it's just a matter of how bad do you want it. That's why your why is so important. And your why needs to be something that moves you emotionally so that it will propel you to action, to work harder and change your life, change your family's life, bless your family. I don't regret the sacrifice at all. It did require some sacrifice, but I don't regret it because my life looks completely different today than it did a year ago. And it was because I had a big why and a big goal that pushed me to work hard.
And I want to add something there too. We talk about 150 people being added to your team. That wasn't just Brittany herself adding them. And it's not all who you know. It's not all who I know. It's who Brittany knows and who her friends know. And it's a team. That's how these things happen, is building a team. Because I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, I have to recruit everybody. Every person I see, I have to get them. Like, I felt like I had to get them. And when you feel like you have to get them, they don't want to be got. They don't want to join you. They don't want to do what you're doing. And that pressure and that stress, it pushes people away. So part of my drawing the line in the sand and just kind of making some changes was, I'm going to focus on what these people want. I had Cody, Brittany, Tiffany, and then I had my cousin Rochelle up and coming in. I was like, what do they want? What are their goals? How can I help them? And they did the same with their team. So that's what you want to do. Don't make it all about you and my goals and what I want. It's what your team wants. And as you're helping them, that it's going to help the whole team. So. Yep. That's it. That's all I have.
I think that's about it. If you don't reach your goal, like Fallon said, you never ever readjust the goal. You just readjust your timeline, and you just don't give up.
Yep. All right, everybody. Hope you write down your goals. Like Brittany said, it's so important to write them down. So get those planners out and write it down. Just sit there and dream. Dream big. Think of what you want your life to look like and write it down. Talk to your upline about it too. They'll help you. All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right. Good night.
Bye.